15th, chock full of games, as we mentioned, playoff implications aplenty. Kyle, which one catches your eye?
Saturday Night Lights, Buffalo Bills at home versus Miami Dolphins. Come with me, if you will, back to September. Let's try to remember the setting here. A lot of people picked the Bills to win the Super Bowl, a very popular pick. Opening night, they come out, destroy the reigning Super Bowl champ Rams. Week 2, the Bills beat the Titans 41-7. All right, they're the best team in the league. They're the number 1 in the power rankings. Everyone's starting to say, oh, my God, the Bills are going to Super Bowl. Then they go down to Miami and lose. They lost in a really strange way. Josh Allen threw 63 passes with no interceptions, ran it 8 times, and they scored 19 points. It doesn't make sense, and this is why. I talked to Josh yesterday. I said, what the hell happened in that game? He said, the red zone. We get to the red zone. We couldn't score. We could not score. They had so many times, inexplicably, where they would just fly down the field, and then they weren't getting touchdowns, which is something that they do really well. You think Josh Allen throws 63 passes, they're going to have 63 points. No, Miami did a thing to him in this game where they could not get the ball, and there was a play where Josh had a receiver wide open and one-hopped it. It was just a strange off day, and at the end of it, this was a super hot game, and I remember, Jason, you talked about the advantage there. Josh has said, like, never mind our home field advantage. Miami's is crazy with their weather. Sideline is 20 degrees hotter. Everyone was gassed and totally depleted at the end of the game, and the Bills lost. And if you listen to some of their critics, the Bills have not been the same since this loss. They have not been the juggernaut. This is the last play of the game, which led to them not being able to snap it, which led to Ken Dorsey trashing his Microsoft Surface. And I think the air of invincibility of the Buffalo Bills lasted about 3 weeks, and it went out. So I'm watching this game. Weather's going to be a factor. We're talking about it all week. But also, like, finish those drives. They should have won this game by 2 touchdowns, but to Miami's credit, they kept them out in the end zone. So if the Bills are going up and down the field, watch what happens inside the 10-yard line. It was really messing them up last time around.
Yeah, I think it's everything. It's a Saturday night game. It's in the cold, and we discussed earlier in the show whether Miami can win a cold weather game, because if they go into the playoffs and they don't win the division, they're going to have to go to Kansas City. They're going to have to go to Buffalo. They're going to have to go to Cincinnati or Baltimore. And Miami's going to have to win on the road. I'm looking at 2 teams in a game this week that really has me intrigued. All right, it's a 1 o'clock game. It's on CBS. And right now, I'm not sure which team I would pick if I had to take one. Detroit travels to New Jersey to play the Jets. 2 teams that are hovering right outside that playoff picture, and the Jets have lost a few in a row. The Lions have won a bunch in a row. And I'm going to focus on the Jets right now, because the Jets, it looked like this was the first year they were going to go to the playoffs in over a decade, and they had everything rolling. And yeah, the defense was hot, and the offense was getting stuff out of the rookies, and Garrett Wilson was stepping his game up. Last week, they gave it their all, but they got the snot beat out of them up in Buffalo. By that, I mean their quarterback just got destroyed. Mike White was taking hits from all over from the Buffalo Bills in that rain, in the cold weather. Quinnen Williams goes down with an injury. Now you're looking at backups to the backups and asking them to step up. Lions red hot. Jets desperately need a win. Look at the Jets' schedule here. They're right now right outside the playoff picture. They're in that lurking column that we have. Lions come to town here. The Jaguars, who you'd think would be a walkover next Thursday night, come to town. And the Jags have been winning games too. The Jags beat the Ravens. The Jags beat the Titans. That's not an easy game right now. And then they end at Seattle, at Miami. It's not a simple little walkthrough here. And the Jets don't have any institutional know-how about what it means to be in the playoffs. None. The guys that were in the playoffs the last time the Jets were there, it was Mark Sanchez, and it was LaDainian Tomlinson, and it was Braylon Edwards. This Jets group has no idea what playoff football is like. Very curious to see what this team does down the stretch. And the Lions are red hot. I don't think the Jets should be favored in this game. Detroit seems red hot, and the Jets, they're going in the wrong direction, yet they can stop that narrative and they can get a win. Lions-Jets in Week 15. Who would have ever thought? That's my marquee game.
I love that. You talked about 2 teams at different points in their season, and I'm going to piggyback off of that. I'm going to talk about the Titans and the Chargers. The Titans were a team, they're always at the top. They're still at the top of their division. But I remember watching them a few weeks ago on Thursday Night Football. They beat the Green Bay Packers. We watched Derrick Henry get a handoff, throw a pass, score a touchdown. And it was just like the Titans are just continuing to roll. They shut down Aaron Rodgers. But since then, they have really struggled. They had the DUI by their offensive coordinator, and they lose to the Bengals, and they go ahead and they lose to the Philadelphia Eagles. They fired their general manager, then they just lost to the Jaguars. And we've watched Derrick Henry with 3 fumbles in the last 3 games, something we hardly ever see. And then on the other side of it, you talk about the LA Chargers, and they just beat a team, and they won a game on prime time, beating the Miami Dolphins, and Justin Herbert was fantastic. And I think we've gotten used to seeing Herbert on prime time, making plays and doing what's necessary for their offense to thrive. We watched them versus the Chiefs go down there, score touchdowns, put his team up ahead. But on the defensive side of the ball, they weren't able to follow through. And when we watched that game Sunday night, the defense went out there and was able to shut Tua down and Tyreek Hill and this Miami Dolphins offense. Other than the Tyreek Hill picking up a fumble, running it, and then his one long pass, they shut them down. So you're talking about 2 teams on opposite sides of the spectrum. The Tennessee Titans lost their last 3 games trying to figure out a way to win a game, to go into the playoffs feeling good, because I don't think Jacksonville's going to challenge them for that. No,
Jacksonville's 5-8.
Yep, they are. But I don't think they're going to challenge them. I think Tennessee is still going to win that division. But you don't want to have a bad taste going into the playoffs. You want to find a way to win games down the stretch so you're going in with some momentum.
You know who's flirting with a bad taste going into the playoffs is the Minnesota Vikings. We've kind of stumbled upon this analogy of letting the air out of the balloon.
Yeah.
And we have a couple of teams that this applies to. And I think a pin pops a balloon no faster than a slow leak on your defense. The Vikings defense has fallen on their faces in the last 5 weeks. And they play good teams, but no team in 5 straight games are so good that you should finish last in the league defensively in some of the most impactful categories known to football mankind. My God. Kevin O'Connell, I know I'm being dramatic, but it feels like it's necessary.
It's dramatic, though.
It's dramatic because it's been terrible. Kevin O'Connell has said that the defensive coordinator in Minnesota, Ed Donatel, will retain defensive play calling roles. People are already writing articles about who could be listed as a replacement because it's that bad. Here's something that one of our researcher extraordinaires, Rich Goldberg, came up with.
What's he got?
Right now, the Vikings sit last in the NFL in total defense allowed with 403 yards total.
Okay.
They would be the 3rd team to make the playoffs, finishing last in such categories.
400 yards a game they're giving
400 yards a game they're giving up. If they make the playoffs, they'd be only the 3rd team to do it. The 57 49ers did it.
Love that team.
The 2011 Packers did it.
Sure.
And neither of those teams won a playoff game. So if the Vikings defense continues at this clip, things are not going to be going well. And once again, they will fill in the bubble that they are in the expectation room for the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs.
10 wins. How are they doing it? They're going to cruise into the playoffs.
Colts, if they lose to the Colts, and it's on NFL Network, it's on Saturday. They lose to the Colts at home.
Yeah.
Not good.
That's a bubble pop. That's not a slow leak anymore.